Hey, welcome back to my page. This is Ashley Rants, and I'm Ash, and I'm going to be ranting. And if you check the subject line of this video, you know that it is about how some men just don't like women, or at least my experience with this. Um, so if you guys aren't aware of this concept or this idea, it's something that ebbs and flows when it comes to social media, where it'll go viral for the concept will go viral for a second, and then it'll come back and then go viral, and then go away, and then it'll go viral, go away, what have you. So, and I feel like it's been happening probably for the last couple years, where this subject has been a subject. The idea is that there are men who don't like women. They're straight men. That's the key point. Who don't like women. And it's beyond the misogynistic point of it. It's more so you tolerate the female because you want to have intercourse with her. You might even want to say you have a girlfriend or say you have a wife, but you don't really like her or respect her. You want to spend all your time with your friends, your male friends, and you value what they have to say above what the person in your life has to say. You feel like women should be below you. Period. I guess it is just simply misogyny, but it's not. I don't think it's a known misogyny. It's not a out loud misogyny. Whereas some guys will be like, woman, get in the kitchen. It's not that. Sometimes they will do the things to get the girl, and on paper everything looks right, but something's just off. So, and I want to stress that the key phrase in some men don't like women is the key word in some men don't like women is the word some. Some people will take that and apply it to everybody, and that is not accurate, because I got a man that I think I'm gonna love forever, and forever we be together. uh so, and I know for a fact it's not that he don't I know for a fact he liked me. I irritated so, but he liked me. So, but I have had experiences where I've been with someone who just plumb didn't like me. And I don't want to say he didn't like women, because I don't know him with other females. I knew him with me, and I know that he didn't like me. And the moment that I came to the realization that he didn't like me was the moment that I was finally able to end a 10-year freaking relationship. The gotcha on that relationship was it was long distance the whole time. Now, before I tell y'all the story, I need to stress this is from my perspective. I am not trying to bash anybody. I am not trying to put anybody down in any way, shape, or form. My perspective, if I were to speak to him, his perspective would be probably completely different. Somewhere in the middle is the accuracy. However, I will say this, I am an honest person, and the truth, the accuracy in my statement will probably be closer to the truth than his. And this story is not gonna make me look good, because I'm going to look dumb. I am going to look dumb this whole story. So it's not even that I'm trying to spin it to make myself look good. I am going to look dumb. Whereas in my experience with said person who we will call Tori, I might mess up and call him Troy. I don't know. These are made up names. But we're going to try to call him Tori throughout the duration of the story. My experience is he is not a fan of the truth. So I am. So I'm going to try to be accurate. But everybody has a somewhat of a bias when it comes to telling their truth. So I want to be honest with that. But I'm going to try to be as truthful as humanly possible. So met Tori online. And this is before, like, people at this point, it's like probably 2007. 2007, 2008. So people are dating online, but people aren't dating. It's still the 2020, oh my God, you're dating somebody offline. That's going to be a serial killer type situation. So I was very much ashamed of the fact that we met on Black Planet. That tells you how far back this was. This was back when Black Planet was popping. Now, I would just get on Black Planet not to date. I would just be bored and I would just be trying to play with people's heads. Because I was demented that way. I'd be like, oh, I need some entertainment. Let's see whose goat I could get today. I guess I don't want to say I was a troll because I wasn't mean, but I would try to like make guys think, because I would make guys think that I was like all in on a relationship and situations, and I was not. I was not. So this guy was on Black Planet and I was doing the same thing. And he had a he had a bad picture. And it took me about a year to like, and because remember, technology was bad back then. So the picture was really grainy and stuff. So the picture was him. He didn't have a shirt on, but he had a towel around his neck. But I couldn't tell it was a towel. It just looked like bulky. The whole time I started talking to this guy, I thought he had a goiter. And I never told him this. But I told my best friend at the time. I thought he had a goiter that he was trying to mask with a shirt. Like, it was like, so I wasn't trying to play. Well, I guess I was. I was going to say I wasn't trying to play with his head, but I felt bad for him because I'm like, he probably has issues connecting with people, and I understand that, and I want to make him feel better. So I'm going to befriend him online, and because it has to be hard living with a goiter. This is the person I was. I was like, sometimes people just need a friend. So we started chatting, and he was like, he went to Alabama State. I think it was, we're gonna call it ASU. I think he went to Alabama State University, but he was from Dayton. And if by chance this guy ever sees this, even though I've changed his name, every other fact is going to be accurate. Every other fact is going to be accurate. So he will know. I want you to know. Hi. Okay. So so he went to, I think it was ASU. And we started talking or whatever. And again, this is not who the heck starts talking. And I was talking to him on just a friendly tip because I wanted to be his friend because I thought he was I have made up a whole story in my brain that he was lonely and he needed a friend, and I was going to be his his lifeline to friendship, and then I would give him the confidence to make friends in real life. So we started talking. Eventually, I actually gave him my number, but I had to keep this away from my family or whatever because I was going to get kidnapped and never heard from again and trafficked and everything. That's what happens when you meet somebody online. But when you have no social abilities like myself, online services is the best way to meet someone. Um, so eventually, we ended up talking every single day throughout the whole day, like nonstop. And he very quickly went from just somebody I was trying to be a lifeline to my best friend, to okay, I got feelings for this guy, goiter or not, because at this point I don't even see the goiter because he is sexy to me because his personality seems to match my personality, and I was very much that kind of person. You be the ugliest, you could be the guy from Mask. I'm dating myself, but whatever. The 1980 something, I think it was 80s, maybe early 90s movie with Cher. You can be the guy from Mask, and if you have like, if your personality is where it needs to be at, I will think you are the finest person in the world. The finest person, and you won't be able to tell me otherwise. So, goiter or not, finest person in the world. So, me and Troy, I want to say we started talking on Black Planet like August, right? Um, and we would kept making plans to meet up. After we exchanged numbers, we kept making plans to meet up, and then he would cancel plans, and then we would make more plans that he would cancel. But there was no logic behind. I'm like, what is it your goiter? And I never told him I thought he had a goiter, but I'm like, in my head, I'm trying to come up with reasons why he would just act this way. Because we're vibing, like we're talking nonstop. You are spending your time with me, even if it's not face to face. So I'm like, eventually, it's probably end of September, early October. We say, okay, we are going to meet at this club called Hammerjacks. If y'all are from Dayton, Ohio, y'all might remember Hammerjacks. It was a club at the bottom or a bar at the bottom, and then you go up these steps, and yeah, you go up these steps, and there was a club. So I went there, and this was the time when I was like I was at my skinniest. I wasn't healthy, but I was at my skinniest. So I was fine. Like I was very, and then I was watching America's Next Top Model weekly. So I would study that. So my walk was, my look was, my makeup was, the outfit was, I had, I, I was, I distinctly remember going to that club, being there, looking around, waiting for somebody with a goiter, and not seeing him for like an hour. And me texting him and calling him, not going to answer. And then finally he calls back. And it's where I'm in a club, so I have to be like, hold on, I can't hear you. I got to go downstairs outside to have the conversation. And then maybe you can just meet me out there, but hold on for 1 second. Because I'm like, okay, maybe he got a flat or whatever. I grant a lot of grace. I have a very, he's the one who taught me that I have a very high tolerance for bullshit. Too high of a tolerance. So I go out downstairs and I'm on the phone with him, like, hey, I'm here. And I think we just maybe keep missing each other or whatever. Where are you at? We can just, I can meet you at the back of the line if you're still in the line or whatever. He's like, yeah, I'm not coming. When I say I was crestfallen, like I was heartbroken. Like, what do you mean you're not like? There were times we scheduled a date. There were times we scheduled a date, and you canceled it maybe 10 minutes before. But before I left the house, and at the time I didn't have a vehicle or anything, so I'm on the bus, or I think I got a cab because I'm not gonna get on the bus looking like I was looking. She too cute for that. I think I got a cab. This is before Uber and whatnot. I got a cab. So I'm like, what do you mean you're not coming? He's like, I can't make it. Why? He just says there's a lot going on. Cool. Bye. I hung up. I was done. I went out, headed back into the club, and I am not a clubber. Y'all know I grew up in the church. I'm not a clubber. And I don't do people. So the fact that we was meeting at a club, but I was determined. I'm like, I'm gonna go in here and I'm going to have fun. I did not. But I was upset because, well, for obvious reasons, I was upset. But I was done. I had decided I was done with them. But just like a fool, there wouldn't be a story if it wasn't. There wouldn't be a story if I was done with them, right? So, and at the club there was like guys trying to hit on me or whatever, and I'm like, it wouldn't be right for me to go. If I know I have feelings for one person, it wouldn't be right for me to try to start something with somebody else. So I'm like, nah, I'm good. So, which I'm glad that happened because I don't want to. Anyways, so I got home and I had a couple text messages and missed calls or whatever, and I decidedly did not check the messages or return the calls. But I'm also somebody who does not block people the way I need to block people. I should have blocked him, but for some reason I didn't. And then finally got a text message. Probably the next. I don't recall the order of events, so bear with me. But I finally got a text message eventually where he's like, "Okay, I'm ready to tell you the truth." So immediately I call him. Okay, what's the truth? Because I'm ready to just. I'm ready to call it a day. But I want to know what was the reason, because I've been at this point when I tell you I was at my finest. I mean that. Like, I was too cute to be resigned to this. So so call him. He's like, okay, this is T. Let me use proper terminology for back then. This is the deal. I'm actually not in Dayton. I'm in Alabama. I'm in ASU. Which he told me prior to this, he told me he was in college, but he didn't tell me where he was in college at. So this is when I found out he's in ASU. And again, not certain if it's ASU, but that's what we're going with. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, the night that we started chatting was my last night before I had to go back to college. It was my last night in Dayton before I had to go back to college. But the conversation was so good that I didn't want to stop talking to you, but I didn't think anything was going to come of it. So I just kept talking to you and I didn't think it was important. But then things sort of developed and now we both have feelings and we were. So I'm like, sir, you not only took the decision, you stripped me of the ability to make a decision for myself as to whether or not I would want to still talk to you and deal with you when it's a long distance situation. But you continuously lied to me. He's like, I did not lie. And this became a running theme within the relationship. A lie of omission is a lie. So he's like, I did not lie. I just didn't tell you the whole truth. When you start a plan with somebody to meet them, knowing that you're not going to be able to meet them, that's a lie. That's just beginning, middle, end of it. I told him, like, hey, I need to think about it for a minute, and I recognize this part as manipulation for what as manipulation after the fact. It took me until about 2 to 3 years after our relationship for me to recognize the abuse that was there, and it was not physical abuse; it was just mental and emotional. So stuff that I didn't recognize it. Okay, so he's like, he decided he's gonna get mad at me, right? About the whole situation, about the fact that I'm upset about the fact that he's been lying since we started talking. So for about 2 months at this point, and he's decided he wants to get mad at me. It's like I said I need to get off this phone. I need to think. And at the time, I had a friend. We will call her. No, that's a bad name. Dara. I have a I have a bookcase over here, and it has a bunch of books. So if I have to come up with a name on the fly, I look over there and see name what name pops up for me, and then that's how I come up with the fake name. So I had a friend at the time. Her name was Dara. She was like my best friend outside of Tori, because Tori became my best friend in this short period of time. Because if you met somebody, if you talk to somebody every day for at least 8 hours for 2 months, you are going to develop a close relationship, period. So he's like, him being mad, he's like, oh, you need to think. No, what you need to do is get off the phone, tell Dara what's going on, and get her permission on how you're supposed to move with this. I'm like, excuse me, sir? Which, in my head, I was going to call Dara and be like, this is T. This is what's going on with this. And I was going to come to my own conclusions, because I'm somebody who always came to my own conclusions regardless. But he made it feel like I couldn't even talk. He phrased it in a way that made it feel like if I was to talk to her about this, I wouldn't be my own woman. So I ended up getting off the phone with him, because he's fussing, and he's like, oh, Dara just gonna tell, because she don't want us to be together anyways, so she just gonna tell you to stop talking to me. I'm like, I need to go get off the phone, but then I don't want to call her because I don't want to make him right in what he said. So I'm sitting with this by myself, and at this point I'm not really close to my siblings. Not even really. I'm not close to my siblings. Uh, the only person I had for real outside of Tori was Dara. And I didn't know how to deal with this. I didn't have the capacity to deal with someone who says all the right things, is doing the right things. He's hitting the marks that you look for when you are 17, 18, 19. Which I think at this point I am 18. He's in school. He's pre-med. He has his own place. He is not just in school, but he's actually smart on top of being in school. And we all know that there's some dumbos in school. He supports me in me trying to find myself. It is He hits the marks that you're supposed to hit. So I'm like, I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. Call him back. We can keep talking. We can still be friends or whatever. Because again, we're just friends at this point. We can still be friends, but it's gonna take a minute for me to start to trust you again. Period. I'm like, he's like, cool, that's great. The problem is with me, I am somebody who is either all in or all out. So immediately, as soon as I decide to continue to talk to him, I trust him 100% again. So we continue to talk every day, at least 8 hours a day. I would be at work texting him. I would be throughout the whole day, and he would be responding promptly. We finally meet in November because he has winter break at that point, and he comes back to Dayton. We meet in November. I can't remember what we did, but yeah, we meet. It was nice. I realized he didn't have a goiter. That was good. I'm like, oh, I just imagined that. And I'm so mature because I was willing to look past that in light of emotions. So I must really feel good about him. He goes back and to ASU, and we continue talking. I thought it was the most romantic thing in the world where New Year's Eve hits, and at this point I'm like, why has he not asked me to be his girl? I was upset. Like every night we talking on the phone and literally we're going to sleep on the phone together. So every night we're talking on the phone. I'm playing En Vogue's What's It Gonna Be on repeat. Like, bruh, what's it gonna be? Like, I ain't got time for nobody else at this point because all my time is spent with you. So what? So if I was so romantic when on New Year's Eve he told me that he hurried up and called me like 10 p.m. It's like, hey, I did not want to go into the new year and not have you be my girlfriend. Please be my girlfriend. I'm like, oh yes, yay, that's so sweet. I recognize now that I told him I was headed out on New Year's, and I mentioned some guys that was going to be where I was going to. Didn't tell him where I was going. I was going to watch night service. The guys was like 60 years old. He thought I was about to go clubbing. He didn't want anybody else to have me. That was it. Period. That was it. That's beginning, middle, and end of that. That's how I ended up being his girlfriend. Me thinking it was just so romantic. No, I was going to watch night service. So I'm so irritated with it. I'm so irritated telling this story because I've told bits and pieces of this story before. I've told bits and pieces of this story before, but thinking about it and then telling it all at one point, in one sitting, it's a lot. Especially because I can't remember chronological order of everything. I can't. But I'm fairly certain on the order in regards to this situation. So, okay. I want to say the next year we're doing the thing. We just continue to do what we're doing. Valentine's freaking holidays. I forgot about the holidays. So we get together January 1st officially, or December 31st officially. Valentine's Day hits. This is my first Valentine's Day ever with in a relationship. I go and I spend. I he had Tori had this thing with sweets, so I spend a pretty penny on this Harry and David tower. It had brownies, cookies, cakes, and it's not the cheap. This was not Duncan Hines. This was a pretty penny. That penny was gorgeous. I spent coin on this. He gets it. I'm excited for him to call me, but like when he gets it on Valentine's Day, because I booked it for it to get to him on the day, not the day before, not the day after. I specifically made sure, will it be there on time? He's like, did you get my gift? I'm like, no, I haven't gotten anything. He's like, oh, let me see what's going on with the tracking. Okay, I just looked at my email. It's been delayed, but I can't wait for you to get it. I'm like, okay. I'm excited because I like gifts and I hate surprises, but I like surprises. So I'm like, oh my God, just tell me what it is. He's like, no, no, no. Wait. Where's my gift? I never got it. And eventually it was never even addressed, I don't believe. If memory serves, we never really, it just was never addressed. It just was, eventually we stopped talking about it. Okay. That gorgeous penny is gone, but it's the thought that counts, and I did not give him a gift just so I can get a gift. I gave him a gift because I left him. Ish. No, I gave him no, this is before love. I gave him a gift because I felt strongly about him and I cared for him. So, fast forward, we'll say we're fast forwarding to July of that year. He lets me know, hey, I love you. I'm like, hey, that's great. That's nice. Legitimately, that's what I said. I said that's nice. Because at that point, I had no capacity of knowing what love was, or what love was supposed to look like, or feel like, or what have you. And I am someone who is huge on words. Um, I was somebody who was huge on words, and I did not believe in just saying something to say something. I wanted to be certain that what I felt was love before I claimed love. So he was upset that I did not tell him I loved him. And I said, and I let him know, like, I can't tell you, but there will be an asterisk next to it. Like, I can't, I mean, I can tell you now, but I don't know if that's how I feel. It's like, well, don't say it. And I'm like, and I won't until I know. Now, mind you, this whole time, told me he loved me maybe on a Monday. We'll say on a Monday. From that moment, and then he was upset, period. Immediately when I said, that's nice. And thank you. I said thank you. I thanked him. It was nice to be loved. Um, I then tried to figure out how I felt. And I didn't, hindsight, I recognized I didn't, because something in my spirit wasn't sitting right and I didn't know what it was. But now, hindsight is the fact that the whole relationship was off. But I literally asked everybody in my life, my sisters, I think I asked my brother, but I'm not certain. My mom, like, what is love to you? What does it look like? I studied R&B songs. I looked up the actual definition of love. I tried to get to love. I tried really hard to get to love. And I convinced myself that I got there. But even when eventually, I probably told him, like I said, say he said this on a Monday. It was probably like a month later. We'll say a month later, I probably told him. We were on the phone and we were talking. He's still irritated with the fact that I hadn't told him I loved him, but I'm still, at this point, I've resigned myself. Like, okay, obviously, what I feel is love, because it doesn't feel right not to talk to him. It does, like, he's there. He's there, and he carries the emotional weight for me, of a relationship. That's pretty much all he was doing. He wasn't carrying all the emotional weight, but he was carrying some. So, because I was dealing with some personal stuff at that time. Again, this does not make me look good. I look dumb as hell. Okay, anyways. So, talking on the phone with him maybe a month later, and I'm like, hey, and while we're on the phone, I text him, like, hey, I have something to tell you, but I don't know how to say it. But I'm still keep talking to him on the phone like everything's good. So he continues talking to me on the phone like everything's good. But now we're having a whole conversation via text message while we're on the phone. It was really very stupid. He's like, and I'm like, he's like, what is it? I'm like, I'm just nervous to say it. He's like, is it bad? I'm like, it's definitely not bad. It's just, I'm nervous to say it because I don't want to say something that doesn't ring true, or that you feel like I'm just saying to make you happy. And at this point, he knows what I'm saying. He's like, well, take your time and I'll be here whenever you're ready to say it. I'm like, okay. So I'm on the phone. I'm like, okay. I cut off our conversation via text message, and I cut off the conversation we're having over the phone. And I'm like, okay, I love you. He's like, I love you too. But it was very anticlimactic, his response. It was not, I didn't expect fireworks or anything, but it was like, it felt like he was like, duh, or you better. That's what it felt like. It was not, and I'm walking around, I'm happy because, oh, now I'm in love. A chick was dumb. Um, this is around the same time, maybe a month after that, he went MIA. Now, mind you, we're in a long distance relationship. If you go MIA in a long distance relationship in like 2008, what is there to do? Oh, wait, no, I jumped the gun. Pause. He did not go MIA at this point. He did not go missing in action at this point. No, at this point, he sent me a message like, my mom is struggling. Are you able to help her with her rent? I say most definitely, because we're in love and that's what we do. That's what you do when you're in love with someone. I've not met his mother. Have not met his sister. Not met his father. I have not met anybody in his family. Have not met his friends. I've not met anybody. But somebody pulls up to my house and I hand over the equivalent of my paycheck that week. And then they leave. About a month after that, I send him the equivalent of my paycheck because he is behind on his rent in Alabama, at the place that I have not seen. At this point, this is when he goes MIA. So I am at the point where I am dumb and naive, and I think something bad has happened to him. Because we're not going to talk every day for over a year. And I'm just realizing summer came and went, and he didn't. Okay. We're not going to talk every day for over a year. And then all of a sudden you disappear, and it not be because you're not laying up in somebody's hospital. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So I'm calling, I'm texting, I am confused. And then I finally get to the point where I'm like, I send him a final text message of, I don't know if you're dead, I don't know if you're alive, but if you are alive, then please don't text me no more. Let me mourn you. The next night I get a text message. No explanation, just an apology. And like a fool, I take it. This MIA situation has happened. It probably happened about 5 times after that in the relationship. And it would go from the span of 1 week to, I think the most was 2.5 weeks. And I don't have any of his family members' information, so I can't call them to check up on them. At one point, he came back to Dayton, and I think it was New Year's. No, okay. Before he came to Dayton for this, I visited him for my birthday. I visited him in Alabama. Remember, it's my birthday. It's my birthday week. Remember, it's my birthday week. Now, side quest here. I am uber Christian, socially inept. First relationship is, I almost said his real name. First relationship is Tori. Whatever I said. Sometimes it's going to be either Troy or Tori. Whatever comes out my mouth, I'm talking about the same person. First relationship is Tori. So I am virginal. And at this point, I am trying to remain virginal. But in my naive mind, I'm like, I can go and stay at his house for a week and nothing happens. This is when I really knew that we weren't going to make it. And I will, again, another quick side quest. I know I said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Everything that I say here is the truth as I seen it and experienced it. It is somewhat biased by my experience, but nothing is a lie. This is a situation that I'm about to speak about that is not biased. It is how it actually happened. And again, because I never, even in our lowest point, I never told him this. Because I didn't want to be mean. And I knew I could make the child freaking impotent just by the truth. All right. So at his house, whatever. Um, I we go over some basic rules. Very much. First off, I catch the bus from Dayton, Ohio to, I can't remember what city in Alabama it was. Was it Birmingham? I feel like it was not Birmingham. I don't know. But I catch the bus there, and I am a bougie chick. Never again. Never again. I get there, and head to his place, and we decide to watch a movie. We do a bunch of stuff, like just getting accumulated. We relax or whatever. I try to help him study. I ask him some questions from his book that I have no idea what I'm talking about, but apparently they were good questions, and helped him study for a while. And we watched the movies and stuff. We're there for a couple days. Eventually, I decide, okay, I am in heat. I I need the goods. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do the do. I'm trying to keep it clean as humanly possible, because I know I've cursed in here once or twice, but I'm trying to keep it as clean as humanly possible. Let's do the do. People say that their first time is bad. And I used to think that they were exaggerating. And I think my first time was exceptionally bad. So I still look at other people with a side eye when they say that theirs is bad. But you would have thought that it was his first time. Because it was 2 pumps. It was, oh my God, it's so good. And then we're done. That is how I recall my first time. And I did not feel him in me at all. Did not feel him in me at all. So I'm trying to imitate videos that I've seen of what it looks like when it's good. And he's like, and I did a bad job apparently, but he bought it, but he still questioned some of my behaviors. But I want to boost his ego. That was the only time we had sex. I feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like that was the only time we had sex while I was there. I did develop an oral fixation while I was there. That was fun. But beyond that, to this day, I feel like I wasted my first time. To this day. So, birthday hits. Very excited. He is not a foodie. I am very much a foodie. My favorite food is Asian foods. He had never heard of egg foo young before. Somehow that was just like the craziest thing in the world to eat. And so he would sometimes call me egg foo young, because I told him at the time that was my favorite food. And to the point where I would say I wanted to marry an Asian man just so he can cook me egg foo young every night. Because Anyways, but for my birthday, he decided there's a Japanese restaurant. I've never gone to a Japanese restaurant, but we should go for your birthday. I was very excited. It's very nice. The food was excellent. Um, he did not recognize any of it, even though separately the component nothing was weird on his plate. It was just a bowl. It was one of those steaming bowls and had rice in it and fried egg on top. And I think it was I can't recall the name of the dish, but I've ordered it since, and it's a good thing. It's not my favorite, but it's good. But it was just so, oh my god. And his allegedly it messed up his stomach. Whatever. Well, it's not whatever because his house was a studio apartment, so that was a rough. We had to open the patio door. Uh, but for my birthday dinner, while we are in there, he is complaining the whole time. The whole time. And then the check comes. And we are still talking. He's not reaching for the check. Check comes. He is still complaining. He is not reaching for the check. The check comes. And I am looking at the check as he slides it over and says, "Hey, babe, I don't really have enough money to cover this." He has not opened the check to even know what this is. But he knows he doesn't have enough money to cover the birthday dinner that he took me out on. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So I pay for that. I paid for my ticket there. I paid for I want to say I paid for, I could be wrong on this one, but I can't recall. I want to say I paid for the cab to his place. Um, I paid for my birthday dinner. And it wasn't, I wouldn't have had an issue paying for it either. But why did you suggest this place? Why are we could have went to McDonald's. I would have been straight. I don't know. I mean, I do know, but I don't know. So, next day, the day before I leave, I don't even talk about it because it's what's the point? That's the mindset I have when it comes to a lot of stuff. Like, what's the point? So I don't even talk about it. Next day before the day before I leave is the next day. Um, he goes to work, which is weird because he was also supposed to take that week off so he could spend all the time with me and show me around. But I literally stayed in his house. He walked me across the street to the gas station and sold chicken. He walked me up the street to the Japanese restaurant, and we was in his house. I didn't get to see the campus. At the time, I was in school and I was flirting with the idea of joining a sorority, and I was like wanting to really see the Zetas. And I had never met a Zeta in person. So I wanted to see the Zetas because that's where I wanted to join. And I was told I was going to get to meet them, even though he told me that they call the Zetas the pigs. Mind you, he told me this after I told him I had an eating disorder. So you see why I say he didn't like me? But it's also my fault because I put up way too much. Um, oh, and it gets worse. This gets worse. Okay, this might have to be a two-parter. I'm telling you. I think I'm gonna take this to the point where we broke up the first time, and then I'm gonna do a second part because it's a lot. It's a lot. So okay. So because it's the day before I leave and I'm very excited and I'm trying to let go of the negative experiences and try to look at it with to me, I've justified everything in my head. It's not his fault that he doesn't have money. He is a broke college student. That is a thing. And I am understanding. So the fact that he didn't have money for my birthday, that's understandable. The fact that he did not take the week off like he said he was going to take, that's understandable. The fact that we didn't, because he had to work, he couldn't take me exploring the city, but he didn't want me exploring the city because it was dangerous. That was understandable. He was trying to protect me. So I've found a silver lining in all of this. The fact that it is not his fault that he was not good at sex. Maybe he was nervous. Or if he's not good at sex, maybe he can just, we can figure it out on our own. I can happily just get a toy for the rest of our lives and we'll have sex and I will make sure he's satisfied and then I'll go finish myself off in the bathroom afterwards. I have come up with plans to make this work. And then the day before I left came. He was at work and I decided I'm going to do an indoor picnic. I did not think this was too spectacular of a thing. Um, Mainly because he didn't have any, it was raining outside and he didn't have a table. So, like, there was no dining room table because it was a studio apartment. So I just pushed the coffee table out the way and laid down some blankets and then went to the chicken place that he took me to that was a part of the gas station that was across the street. And I got some of that. And he came home and I think I had some candles lit. I can't recall. I tried to make it as romantic as possible, but I didn't think it was too, I didn't think I did that much, honestly. And he was like, oh my God, this is the most romantic thing someone has ever done for me. It was just so, and I'm like, I'm feeling good about myself. While we're eating, we're watching a Tyler Perry play. Why Did I Get Married? The play, not the movie. Because in the play, there's a scene where I can't remember if it's the uncle or the granddad in it. Someone, when Tyler Perry plays, they do the thing where in the middle of it, they'll do like a mini sermon about something. And they were talking about marriage and how it's important to find somebody who's, I can't remember what exactly the content of it was. Something, I don't know. I don't recall fully what the content of it was, but it was talking about the importance of marriage. That's when he proposed to me. I do want to point out I've only ever been engaged once, and that's now. I've never said no so swiftly in my life. Actually, let me. You know what? He didn't fully propose to me. What he did was take my hand, pause the movie, do the thing where you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I can't imagine my life without you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Ashley, will you? And I said, stop right there. Because I want to be clear. The answer is no. If you were to ask, it would be no. If you were to ask tomorrow, it would be no. If you asked yesterday, it would be no. At this moment, it is no. I'm not saying it's no forever, but it is no. And the reason it was no for me, not because of all the red flags that are glaringly obvious in hindsight, it was because I couldn't imagine living my life the way. Ooh, okay. Emotions are back there somewhere. I couldn't imagine living my life with him and feeling secure because I didn't realize it until after I got out of it. But everything I did, there was a little dig at every single thing that I did. Um, I asked him if one time I asked him if I was gullible because I did a lot at one point. I used to do a lot for people. I don't think I do so anymore, but I used to do a lot for people, and I felt like at one point I was being taken advantage of. So I asked him, "Am I gullible?" So he says, "I don't know. Go get a dictionary and read the definition of gullible to me." So I read the definition of gullible to him, and I am heartbroken while I'm asking him, "Am I gullible?" I read the definition of gullible to him, and then he's laughing. I'm like, "Why are you laughing?" "I can't believe you fell for it. You're so gullible that you read the definition of gullible." So it's stuff like that that would just chip away at me, but I didn't recognize it as that. But every time I would try to picture a full on future with him, I just pictured me sitting alone on at an island in a kitchen, drinking red wine that I don't even like, and wondering where my husband was. I could never picture us together because it felt like I put a lot into the relationship and he did not. Um, I went back. I unpaused the movie. Like I did not just reject his proposal. And I know if Tori, that's the name we're going with. I know if Tori tells this story, he's gonna say he didn't propose to me. It's cool. It's cool. He proposed twice. Twice. It's cool. I said no twice. And what? I I'm realizing retelling this situation. I'm kind of hot under the collar. Still, it's like I don't have any residual feelings. I promise you, not a lick of residual feelings. But I feel like I never. It's not that I wanted to get a get back, but I feel like he never understood, and that's what I. Yeah, he never understood the extent of what I did for him, what that meant to me, and how he's hurt me. So play the movie. Everything's good. We act like the proposal that didn't happen didn't happen. Go back home. I want to say after a month or two, he went MIA again. He came back apologetic. One of the times he went MIA, I can't recall which time. He's like, no, I know which time. So I'm not going to jump ahead. So he came back apologetic, but also unapologetic. Like he knew he did wrong, but he didn't really care. But also he wanted to pretend like he cared, but he didn't give any explanations. Everything was good. Christmas came, and I joined a raffle at my job, and he was like an OSU stan. So I joined a raffle at the job, and I won. It was this huge OSU thing. Basket. It was just had a blanket in there that I still have that blanket. I accidentally forgot to put it in the basket that I mailed to him. Had a calendar. It had a bunch of stuff in there, but it was worth about $200. I think I got it for like $150. And then I mailed it off to him. I waited, and eventually I got and I say eventually because it was eventually a CD of the Best of Mint Condition. And I love Mint Condition. I do. Now, we want to tally this up real quick. Oh, wait. And then right after his birthday, right after Christmas was his birthday. So also, I had set up so that he can get a bottle of Kenneth Cole. Kenneth Cole Black in the mail. And it's not the travel size that you get. It was the big bottle that you spend coin on. And I'm not a materialistic person. I'm not, I promise you. It sounds like I'm tallying stuff up, but it's necessary to retail. But let's tally this up. Because I didn't get anything for my birthday. I paid for my birthday. Valentine's Day, I didn't get anything. I do want to point out the following Valentine's Day, I didn't get anything. Christmas, I got a CD that was at the local Walmart at like $7.99. Birthday, I didn't get anything. Valentine's Day, didn't get anything. Christmas, I got a CD. The other Valentine's Day, didn't get anything. And then I gave him that bottle of, and this sticks with me, Kenneth Cole Black. And the mother that I've never met tells him, according to him, I don't know if she really said this, but the mother that I never met, whose rent I paid, allegedly, because I've never met his mother, so I don't know who actually took that money, because I thought when she came and picked up the money, there would be a little conversation, but no, it was like a drug deal. She tells him, oh, she got money, you better keep her. Yeah, I did the Quinta Brunson thing. But that was, she got money, you better keep her. That's what the quote was. New Year's Eve hits. he goes missing again. Now, mind you, New Year's Eve is our anniversary. At this point, we break up. I was already feeling guilty about our anniversary because I'm like, I can't get him something else. I can't get him another gift. I don't have it to do. So I'm feeling guilty even though I never get anything from him. But that's cool because he went missing again for like, I said 2.5 weeks was the most before. That's not accurate because I didn't hear from him again until March. When I hear from him again, he lets me know, hey, I might have a drinking problem, and that's why I keep going MIA. And I'm Mrs. Fix It. So I'm like, we can get through this. And this is where my obsession with watching, partially where my obsession with watching documentaries on addiction comes from. We started talking again. I said I was going to stop this, but I'm not trying to feel like this again to finish telling the story. So I'm just going to go straight through. So this is going to be a long story. I don't expect anybody to watch this whole thing, honestly. We started talking again, but not together. I want to say, and this is, I can't say that this will be 100% accurate because I can't really recall. He asked me a couple times to be back in a relationship with him, and I said no. But it was essentially what we were doing when we were in a relationship before was what we were doing now. It just didn't have the title of relationship. In my head, we are both faithful to each other. In my head, it's, I almost said his name again. In my head, it's Tori and Ash, period. I said to myself, once he gets himself together, then we'll be able to really be together. So we're off and on. And when we go off, we don't talk at all. Like, it's no communication at all. And I'm about to jump a lot, actually, because this is where things get sketchy in my memory bank. So we become off and on, and we wouldn't talk for 6 months here or a year there, and then he will reach out to me. I don't think I've ever reached out to him to initiate conversation. And we would be right back where we started at, with talking and stuff like that. And my man, even though that's not my man. So eventually, I think I'm almost done actually, because there's such a big gap, and the gap is traumatic, but I'm living life in those gaps, so it's not. But in my head, I am waiting on Tori. In my head, I'm, no matter who I'm talking to, what I'm doing, in the back of my head, I am waiting on Tori. So eventually, we'll say 2014ish, because I'm working in the cash office at Walmart at this point. He hits me up, and I'm like, hey, how are you? It's been a while. And I'm genuinely happy to hear from him and stuff like that. And I don't recognize that in the back of my head I'm waiting on him. I don't recognize that as that's not conscious. I'm not conscious of that. But in my head, my friend reaches back out to me. But also, when he reaches back out to me, I'm talking to this other guy who I should not be talking to. But I am ashamed of that relationship. I am wholeheartedly ashamed. But he was a good lesson. He was a great lesson, but not even in a negative way. I mean, a negative way because I was consciously the other woman. I was aware of this, um, and I'm not proud of that. But he was a lesson I feel like I needed to learn. Um, so when he reaches back out, I tell him about my. We're just talking about life and what we're doing. He tells me he's married, and I'm like, cool, that's great. Again, this is in the back of my head, not conscious of this. When I become conscious of it, I'll wait till I'm gonna wait to tell you what the thought was. Give me a second. Um, so I'm like, he's like, why aren't you married yet? I'm like, oh, I'm talking to Jason. That's the name we're going to use. I'm talking to Jason right now. It's going pretty well. And this is before I knew that I was the other woman. Because I didn't walk into the situation knowing I was the other woman. So I'm talking to Jason right now. It's going pretty well. So immediately he catches the attitude. Immediately he catches an attitude. And I'm like, what's that? You just told me you're married. You can't get mad at me for talking to being in a relationship with Jason. He's like, you're right. You're right. I'm just used to you just being with me. I'm like, I understand that, but you got to check yourself because that's not what we do. And you need to be related in your marriage, right? He's like, you're right. So we start talking. But because I am also dealing with Jason and I, who is local, he's not in another state. He's in another city, but might as well be up the street. We constantly talk all throughout the day. So that would interrupt my conversation with Tori. So say I'm having a conversation with Tori. We bop it happen. And then Jason hits up. I'm like, hey, I got to talk to you later. Jason's on the other line. So at one point, me and Jason, he's like, we have a conversation. It's a conversation that I've had multiple times with, I got to reverse. No. Yeah, it's a conversation I've had multiple times with different people. And it's a hurting conversation. He tells me, yo, when I'm ready to settle down, I'm going to hit you up because you're a wife. But right now, I'm not there yet. But I want to be something along those lines. So I go to Tori. And I'm like, hey, can I ask you a question? Is there something wrong with me in the fact that everybody wants to put me on the back burner until they're ready for a relationship? And they never want to promote me to that position? And then I run down everything I feel like I bring to the table and what have you. I'm like, I'm really struggling with this. And he's like, I told you I'm married. What is all this? Want. Sir, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Jason. I've had this conversation with Jason. He's like, you on some bull. I screenshot the conversation I had with Jason because you know how you have a conversation on the phone and then to get some clarity, you might continue it via text message. So without giving too much of my personal information, I screenshot like, this is not you. This is not about you. I literally came to you as my friend, because that's what we're supposed to be. It's friends. And I asked this question because I've been with other people since you. And it ain't no, and it's general, and I now know that that's the brush off, but I generally got that response. So now he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just was in my feelings because you with this other man, and I just never picked blah blah blah. I'm like, whatever, I don't even need to know your answer anymore. So something, I don't know how the conversation came up, but then I do ask him, like, do you have any kids or anything like that? I think at the time, everybody around me had kids. So I thought it was weird. And me with no kids thought it was weird. So I asked him if he had any kids. He's like, they're trying, but they don't have kids. And that's where I realized I had feelings for him again. Because this was a thought that was in the back of my head that I didn't want to mention earlier. In the back of my head, I'm like, oh, he's married now, but he could get a divorce. It's going to be me. Period. But I'm not trying to mess up somebody's whole marriage with a kid. And he's like, they had a pregnancy scare recently, but it wasn't real. It turned out not to be accurate. So I had to sit with myself that night, and I'm like, yo, we don't need to be. I sat with myself, I'm like, I don't need to be in a friendship with someone who I can't genuinely be happy for, and wishing for your relationship downfall. And he doesn't need to have a friend like that. So the next day I hit him up like, hey, I don't think we should talk anymore. Nothing that you did. It's just that I realized that I still have feelings for you. And when you told me about the potential kid, that's when I realized that I couldn't genuinely be happy for you, because in my head it was supposed to be me. So I'm going to have to walk away for the sake of both of us. He blows up. Like, he blows up. Now, I'm going to pause for a second and rewind it. At one point, he came to Dayton when we were dating. It was wintertime. I can't remember what holiday. It was some type of holiday. It was New Year's. Because my mom makes the same meal every New Year's. And he never stopped talking about her chicken. Never. So, he came to Dayton. And visited my house. Met my mom. Again, I never met his family. Had a plate of food. We went downstairs to the basement. Was watching Hoodlum, which is probably why I think it's one of the most romantic movies in the world. I'm weird like that. So, mind you, and this is important. I promise you it's important. It's going to feel like TMI, but I promise you it's important. So we started fooling around and we started to have sex, whatever. But because I couldn't feel him the first time we had sex, and this would just be the second time we're having sex. I couldn't feel him the first time we're having sex. I assumed he was in. Because it was... So I'm doing the actress thing that I was trying to do. He's like, is it in? I'm like, yeah, it's in. And I'm moaning and groaning like you're supposed to, but apparently it wasn't in. I didn't know. I wouldn't know. Because I couldn't feel it. That's important. So, now, fast forward back to him blowing up because I said, I can't be happy for you as a genuine friend because I still have feelings for you. He blows up. He goes crazy. He goes bananas. How do you have feelings for me when we're not even around each other? pause, our whole relationship, we wasn't around each other. So are you saying that when you fell in love with me, you was not, and I'm trying to still be respectful. You're saying when you fell in love with me, you was not genuine in those feelings? Because that's what it sounds like to me. If you are spending, mind you, Tori's wife, who I looked up because that's what you do. I can't recall her last name, her original last name, but her married last name was the same as his. But it's very common last name. We'll say Johnson. And if memory serves, her first name was Ashley. And I know memory serves here. I don't know if I'm making up the fact that her first name is Ashley because she looked dead on at. She looked like my doppelganger. She looked just like me. Okay, so your wife looked just like me. So you found me in somebody else. But I ain't saying nothing. You I'm not talking about how the fact that you was a 6-year freshman. That's not fair. That's not fair. I don't know what I I don't believe he finished his degree. That is, but that's not judgment for that. It's the reason I say that, and the reason I'm stressing that is because he used it as a way to lord over other people as a level of superiority. Okay, I don't have a degree. I don't know if I want to ever get a degree. Like I want a degree, but then I'm like I am 36 question mark right now. I'll be I don't even know what I would want a degree in. So it's going to be the time. I don't know. So I'm not judging that. It's just the fact that that's what you would use to lord over other people, that you were pre-med. But you never got post-med. So, like, and and I recognize and I understand his passion was never medicine. His passion was actually playing a saxophone, and he's good at it. He's excellent at it. When he was in school, he played the sax. When he was in, I think he had a band. I can't remember what the name of the band is. Last time we were talking, he had a band. I think he was also moved to Georgia by then. I can't recall. That's all well and good, but everything that you okay. How are you going to get mad at somebody for saying, hey, we can't be friends anymore because I want you to have a healthy marriage? How are you going to get mad at someone for saying, hey, me being friends with you would be toxic to your marriage because I would never be able to root for you? If he were to ever come to me and say, hey, I got a kid, I wouldn't be able to genuinely be happy for him. You don't want that as a friend. So I couldn't figure out, and the whole time we're arguing, he's arguing everything that's wrong with me. The fact that I divulged to him before anybody else that I had an eating disorder. He used that against me. I divulged to him assaults that I've been through. Used that against me. He then tried to say my sex was bad. And this is the one that sticks with me. Because I've said it before. And I'll say it again. But not on here because but trust me, it's not. It's not. Um and I never lashed out at him. I never lashed out the way I could have. I never lashed out. He never got the brunt of he never, at no point in a relationship did I respond to him the way I should have. And I'm not a ratchet, yeah, kind of girl. But some situations call for that. So, and then in the middle of our final breakup, which is what I'm calling that, because in my head, we weren't together, but in my head, I was dating him and I called him Jason. Sorry, dating Tori and Jason at the same time because I was doing all the things for with Tori that I was doing before when we were in a relationship, even sending money. So even though we weren't together, in my head we were together. So this whole time we were in the midst of this breakup, I also had a friend named Zuri. We'll call her Zuri. I had a friend named Zuri who, again, it was a negative friendship. I have grown a lot. I've become way more selective with friends. And we were in the middle of breaking up as well. Like we were starting to not be friends, and that breakup hurt so deeply. So while I feel like I don't have anyone to turn to in this situation, and I'm being berated, one person's telling me everything that's wrong with me here, another person's telling me everything that's wrong with me there, and in the middle, it's me with depressive episodes and low self-esteem and anxiety, trying to put it all together, wondering what's wrong with me, but not having to wonder because they're telling me what's wrong with me. So it was too much. So finally, I just try to put it plainly, like, you're fighting for this friendship, but read through everything that you just wrote. You don't like me. Why are you fighting for a friendship with someone you don't like? And I used to have all these messages on my Facebook Messenger, because the bulk of this conversation happened there, which I now recognize so his wife wouldn't find it. And now, in hindsight, I'm thinking, I really should have talked to her. I should have found her on Facebook and actually looked her up. I feel bad that I did not do that. And not because I'm trying to destroy their relationship, but also I didn't realize until like 2 to 3 years later what it was. He was trying to have his cake and eat it too. He didn't want me to be with anybody else. But when he came back home where his family is, he wanted to be able to have access to me. That's what that was. But he wanted me to be beat down so much that I did not feel that I was able to be with someone else. But also, you don't like who I am. So I need to change everything about me. But also stay the same and never grow. Because if I try to change, then I'm acting brand new. And mind you, the 2 sexual experiences that I spoke about in this post was the only time that I had sex. So my sex is bad. And you who've been having sex since you were 13, 14 years old, what? I'm supposed to be bad. Like that really, really, out of everything he said, because that was the green light for me where it's like, oh, he's trying to hurt my feelings. That was what that was. He's trying to hurt my feelings. Once I recognize I can't give you the benefit of the doubt anymore because I now know that you don't wish me well. And at that point, that's when I'm like, you don't like me. Somehow, not even somehow, because I'm mean. So it ended with Tory blocking. I should have named him Troy. Tory blocking me, which is cool. Because I knew I wasn't going to block him because I always try to come to a resolve. I like to tie things up, even if it's with an ugly bow. I like to tie things up. Come to a consensus of we're not going to talk to each other anymore because XYZ, you live your life, I live my life. I accidentally deleted all these messages and I'm still mad because I used to go back and just read them because it was the most beautiful read in the world. I read this man for filth. Once I came to a realization, I read this man for filth. And then he blocked me. And when I read, that's the thing about me. When I read you, I'm not going to make stuff up. You're going to be able to fact check what I read. And then if it hurts your feelings, then that means something is wrong in your life because I didn't tell any lies. So maybe reassess where you are. Anywho, he was an example of a man who I know he didn't like me. I question if he likes women. Not if he's gay, but if he likes women in the sense of if you really like, wouldn't you respect us more? And I realize now in those instances where he would go MIA, I'm 99% certain that he was cheating. I used to tell people, oh, we were the definition of just the wrong place, wrong time relationship, but we were the epitome of what a healthy long distance relationship looked like. I don't believe that anymore. I recognize it for what it is. It was a toxic relationship where I was never allowed to. With Stefan, he quietly encourages me. He wants me to grow, and I see that he wants me to grow. But then I get so afraid of moving that I will retreat back into myself, and he still encourages me to come out of my little shell. With Tory, I would come out of my shell and he would beat me back into it softly. I remember I used to write poetry a lot, and I tried to write poetry recently, and I realized when I'm in a happy place, I can't write poetry. I like my dark stuff. I used to write poetry a lot. I remember I wrote a poem about Tory, and I used a word. I want to say it was a bore. Give me a second, y'all. Yeah, it was a bore. I used the word bore because we weren't together at this time. We were just friends. We were talking about how our where we were at emotionally after our relationship. And in it I was saying that I bored him. And then he tried to argue with me because I was not college educated. That I used a word wrong and I meant to say adore. And I'm like, no, abhor is a word. I promise you. It's like, no, it's not. I said, you have access to Google. You don't have a right to be wrong here. You don't have a right to be wrong here. I was saying, the poem spoke about how much his presence, I abhorred his presence in my life because it was so contradictory. He kept arguing down. So I went to Google. I Googled the word. I read the definition. I read the source of the word. I read the synonyms. And I screenshot. No, I did not screenshot because at the time I did not know how to screenshot. But I told him if he just type it into Google and say abhor definition, you'll get it. And then he just changed the subject once he did it because he was wrong. It was stuff like that. He couldn't admit being wrong. He couldn't let me shine. He couldn't let me be. I wish the worst for him. I do. And I'm not saying he could not have grown since then, but I knew one version of him. I used to call it the 10-year relationship, but never ending relationship, but I think it was like 5 or 6 years. Um, I knew him over a 5 or 6 year span of time, and I only knew one version of him, so I can't imagine him growing. But I wish the worst for you, the absolute worst, because the way that he broke me down in ways that I am still uncovering should be studied. I I am a Christian. I do not prescribe to the idea, however, that I can't be mad at somebody. You are you are supposed to pray for your enemies. I'm not supposed to. That does not say I'm supposed to pray good things for them. God is supposed to smite my enemies, set a table for me. Like if you, I'm gonna bask in that feast of the table that He sets before my enemies. And I don't consider myself having a lot of enemies. I don't. But I know one person. I don't. I would. I'm not gonna be upset if I heard from him and he's doing well. I'm not. I'm not gonna be bitter about it. I don't think I would care either way. But also, if I heard that bad things happen, well, who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? I'm not the bust your windows out your car type of chick. I'm, I'm not the commit felony. I jokingly like, oh, we're gonna commit felony. I'm not that chick. I don't believe in I believe in reaping what you sow. I do. I don't believe in karma or kismet or anything like that. But I know sometimes when you reap what you sow, it takes a while. So I don't expect. If I was to find him at this moment, he would probably be living his best life, playing his saxophone for, I don't know, Maxwell. I'm trying to think of who might be heavy in a saxophone situation. Like, but he'd probably be living that kind of life. And I would be okay with that. But if I would be equal, not equally, I would be better if he wasn't. I would be better if he went through some stuff. I'm not wishing death on the man. I'm not. Never mind, I'm not going to say that. Because my friends know that I don't wish death on anybody. Because I think that that's nice. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm out of tea and it was cold. Oh, got a little bit more. That is ice cold. I feel my throat starting to get a little tired. Um, I might make me a shot. I am curious. I want to say this. For Tori, I did not say all of what I went through. Um, I didn't really touch on the psychological stuff because it's so nuanced that. But I did go through a lot. I did go through a lot. But like I said, you reap what you sow, and I sowed good, and I got great. When I say I love everything, come back to Stefan. It come back to God and Stefan, cause when I say I love that man, like I so plainly love that man. Like the way a child will get a daffodil and blow it in the wind. That's how I feel with Stefan. And I feel like that is my blessing for dealing with stuff like Tori. I love that man. Oh, I'm sorry. See, that was just melancholy 2 seconds ago. And now I'm just like, I can't all cheesy and stuff. Okay, I refuse to let this get to 2 hours. I thank you guys if you stuck in this with me. I am. Whew. I, it's a lot, ain't it? All right. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know about your relationship. Do y'all subscribe to the idea that some not all men don't like women? They just but they need them or want them? And also, what's have y'all had a situation where y'all had to like where you I have multi questions here. So go with me here. If y'all, hopefully y'all made it to this point because I have some questions. If y'all comment, let me know. Tell me about your relationships that was a lesson, hard lesson, good lesson, what have you. I might tell y'all about. I can't remember what Jason. Uh, I might tell y'all about Jason. That's a quick one. But whatever. And I will say this with Tori, he did teach me that I can be loved and I can love. So I thank him for that. I will give honor where honor is due. Even though he did not love me properly, I knew it helped me know that I could be loved. So, tell me about y'all relationships. Have y'all experienced someone who you don't think like women? Not in a homosexual, pansexual, LGBTQ kind of way, but just like you don't fool up with. You just put up with. Um, Another question. Have y'all ever encountered a situation where while you were in it, you didn't see it, but literally years later, things came to light for you? Because that's what happened with me. Because it took years for me to realize the mental emotional abuse that I was put through. Down to the disappearing acts. At this point, now I'm ultra clingy because I know it's a direct response to the fact that he used to disappear. So it's just, let me know what y'all experiences are because I'm curious. Um, and also, I want to stress before I let you guys go. Again, like, comment, subscribe, share. But again, if you see this video, Tori, you know your name isn't Tori. I'm glad. I need you to know that. Okay, that was it. My dream is to one day make it big enough that this video gets viral and somehow gets to him. It feels petty and I'm not a petty person, but it is what it is. All right, love you guys. Bye.